So, hubby,
Yes.
what is your view of submission? And first of all, let's just define it. Let's just talk about what is submission.
You always have to ask yourself or understand, what am I submitting to?
Mm-hmm.
What am I submitting to? Because submission is surrender. You're surrendering in a sense, you're surrendering your will to this thing, to this relationship. You're surrendering your
Welcome to Love Lately, the podcast where we dive into the real conversations about love, relationship, and all the joys and challenges that come along with finding love and keeping it after 50.
Okay, so look, whether you're looking for love, starting over, or navigating the ins and outs of long-term commitment, we're just here to share our journey and the insights we've discovered with you.
I'm Lee, and this is my husband, Ron, and we definitely don't have all the answers. Like, trust me, we do not have all the answers. But we have many questions, and we want to unpack them with you. We will talk about what love looks like in this stage of life and how we can make it work.
So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and join us for honest, heartfelt, faith-filled conversations that remind us all it is never too late for love.
Welcome to Love Lately. All right. Welcome to Love Lately. We're going to talk about the S word, submission. It can sometimes feel like a dirty word, sort of, but we're going to talk about it today and dig in. So welcome to Love Lately. I'm Lee Rogers.
Hi, guys. I'm Ron Rogers.
And welcome to Love Lately. If you have not subscribed, be sure you subscribe and join our mailing list. We have a lot of exciting things coming up, but we'll talk about that more later. We want to go ahead and get into this topic of submission.
Submission. The dirty word, the S word.
I'm going to start off by saying something not controversial. I don't think it's controversial. I think it's pretty straightforward, but I think we're going to start there.
Okay.
With, if you are dating someone that you don't think that you can submit to in the relationship.
Wow.
In the relationship. Because there's no sense in going further, really. I think the key to submission, honestly, we're going to talk about what it means and how it's biblical. But the key to it, when I hear women saying, I can't submit to him, is really, if you can't see yourself submitting to him when you're dating and who he is, then I would end it there, because submission is part of having an abundant and beautiful marriage. And we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
So, hubby.
Yes.
What is your view of submission? And first of all, let's just define it. Let's just talk about what is submission.
Okay. Well, I think submission is a spiritual principle.
Yes.
It's a spiritual principle, but then you always have to ask yourself or understand, what am I submitting to? Mm-hmm. What am I submitting to? Because submission is surrender. You're surrendering your, in a sense, you're surrendering your will to this thing, to this relationship. Mm-hmm. You're surrendering your, it's just a surrender, both hands up. We're not fighting, I'm going to give into this, and it's about roles.
Right.
It's about roles. There is a role for in submitting, and I guess the submitter.
Yes. Well, I see submission a little bit differently.
Okay.
I like the idea. I like the thought of surrendering, and I can see how that can also be. I see submission as coming up under. I see submission more as establishing order. And how I see that is different than surrendering, because you and I could have very different opinions about a topic or an approach. Mm-hmm. And And I can see how surrendering could work. I just don't, I want women to understand that it doesn't mean getting rid of how you think or feel about something. It just means to come under something because we need order in the house. We need order in whatever it is. I mean, God said he is a God of order. So submission comes at work. I mean, submission is all around us with police, with, your supervisor, with all the things, right? So even in our household, we need order. So someone has to be where the buck stops here, right? Doesn't mean getting rid of what you think and feel, but it's like, okay. But so surrender could work for that too, that word.
But we can't look at surrender in an authoritative way, because that kind of is the negative connotation of surrender or submission. Mm-hmm. When I believe in submission, when I submit, that means I'm submitting to something and expecting through my submission to be fed and given something in return.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So when you're submitting, can you give me an example of how you submitted?
In my surrender, say if I'm submitting or surrendering to something bigger and greater than myself, that means I'm expecting this something bigger and greater than myself to be able to do for me what I can't do for myself. You mean, so in my submission, I'm stepping out of the way, but in the sense I'm stepping out of the way, and that's for my gain.
Yeah.
It's an oxymoron. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so sometimes we look at it as weakness. We look at it as giving up something. Mm-hmm. But I'm giving up something in order to gain and receive something.
Yeah.
So in my surrender, it has to be a complete and total surrender with the expectation of, through my surrender, I'm receiving something that's beneficial to me.
Okay.
Strengthening to me.
Yes.
Life-giving to me. Mm-hmm. So it's me getting out of the way, in a sense.
Yeah, I like that. Me getting out of the way.
Yeah.
So,
but it's not like you said, I'm not losing myself.
Right. And I think that's why sometimes women freak out when they hear submission, because they think it's losing
and
themselves.
That's why it's important to have an idea or an understanding or clear understanding of what am I willing to submit to.
So that goes back to my dating thing, because you've got to know that submission is a part of marriage, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And if you don't understand him and what you're submitting to, it's very hard to submit.
Absolutely. And then I think in that submission, understanding what I'm submitting to, it's clear to me that through my submission, there's a gain for me also.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a gain for me. It's hard to see that in my regular mind's eye, because it makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's like saying, in order for me to win this fight, I need to surrender. Mm-hmm. I win through surrender.
Yeah.
That's the oxymoron, and that's usually how every spiritual principle works. It works the opposite of the way we think.
Yeah.
Our thoughts get in the way, and I'm like, I'm not submitting to anything. I'm not giving up,
Right.
But
our thoughts, our pride, our feelings, all those things. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, but those that gain through that spiritual principle and that promise through that spiritual principle, it works completely opposite of the way my mind works and the way I think. So I have to get outside of my mind, and it has to be a deeper desire than just a mental desire.
Yeah.
It has to be a deeper inner desire to invoke that willingness to surrender.
Right.
It has to be something that's working in you through that person from the inside out, not from the outside in.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I mean, I think for me, I see the getting of submission, a covering, Like I believe, and we're going to talk about, do I submit to you? And maybe times when I haven't submitted. But I see the beauty in submitting to you because I see you as my covering. For me, it's a release. It is a way, women talk about that soft life all the time. Like that, to me, that's part of it. Like I can submit to him because I want that covering. I trust the covering.
That's the word.
Yes.
That's the word.
Yeah.
That's the word that was in my mind. I was thinking trust.
Yes. You've got to trust.
In order to give up that and surrender.
Yes.
And to give up that security in a sense.
Yes.
Submitting. There has to be a strong sense of trust.
Yeah.
Trust who you're submitting to,
Right.
And we talked about having that person's well-being, and we talked about my definition of love, how it's an infinite desire for the well-being of another.
Right.
Yeah. That don't stop.
Right. Yeah.
It's infinite.
Infinite.
It doesn't stop. And so I need to know that if I'm going to surrender or submit, that I trust what I'm surrendering and submitting to, that covering
yes.
is there.
Yes.
And it's not a lack for me. It's actually a gain.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that the trust is, again, even if I don't agree with whatever we're discussing, I trust that you have the best, our best interests at heart. Yeah. So, again, whether you're married or dating, do you trust that this person has your best interest at heart? Mm-hmm. Do you see consistency in how they've led their lives? Do you understand what you are submitting to? Right. So even in the dating, asking a lot of questions, watching behavior, watching patterns, so that you know what you're submitting to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's important that that track record.
Track record, yes.
Is important.
Yeah.
Those things aren't, you can't go into a relationship, speaking as a man, you can't go into a relationship expecting submission. You earn submission.
What do the people say now?
Right. That's something you earn.
Yes.
You earn that.
I love it.
Yeah, you earn. You can't go in and just say, well, I'm a man and you need to submit. Mm-hmm. No, that's something that you earn. You earn that through gaining that trust. You earn that through being security. Mm-hmm. You earn that through wisdom and wise decisions and expressing that infinite desire for that person's well-being.
Yeah.
That's because submission is hard. It's hard for a man. It's hard, I'm talking about not just in a relationship, on a job.
Yes.
In other relationships, submission is just something that goes against our flesh. Yeah. Naturally. For us to give up, in a sense, we always think I'm giving up who I am, what I stand for, what I believe in. This whole sense of independence that we carry, all of us.
Yes.
And so to give that up, it has to be something that you've seen and that person has earned that trust and earned that security where you can say, by me submitting and surrendering, it's actually to my benefit and to my gain.
Wow.
That's something that, and that's an inside job. That's something that works from the inside out. It's nothing that, because our mind won't let that concept settle with us. Right. Because it just contrary to what I feel and, on a daily basis, I'm not submitting to nothing or surrendering to nothing.
Right. It's our flesh. Our flesh.
Exactly what it is.
Yes.
And we're talking about marriage and it's just in relationships at all, but it's just important in a relationship and you're looking for love and you're looking for longevity and you're looking for to take a next step. It's important to pay attention and look at the history and the track record and the consistency.
Yes. Yeah.
that's important in order to receive and make that person comfortable
Yeah.
with submission.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about
You submitting?
yes. because I mean, obviously, we don't know everything about marriage. That's why we're always saying, "Hey, you guys ask us questions, tell us your thoughts, give us different perspectives. We're here because we want to do better in our marriage and we want to just talk about topics that we can all talk about. So we don't have it all together. But certainly there are times when maybe I did not submit. And what did that look like?
What did it look like? I mean, it didn't look strange or odd or nothing that made me uneasy or feel like this is not working or not gonna work or not what I wanted. Because submission is hard, you know. And we talked about, I think last week, allowing a person to come into,
When we talked about decisions,
yes,
in one of
allowing
our
a person
previous
to
episodes.
move at their pace,
Yes.
but staying consistent. I stay consistent with love,
Yes, you do.
and knowing that, and we talked about the track record and the history.
Yeah.
And so I knew that I wanted to continually convey that I have your best interest at heart. You know, you're important to me. I love you infinitely, and your well-being is important to me. And so when we have those moments where submission is difficult or has been difficult,
Yeah.
you know, it's okay. It's nothing, because there hasn't been anything super major that we've been at odds with. It's been pretty easy, but you know, I lead with love, and so I think love is something that gave you the ability to trust
Right.
me.
Yeah. I agree with that. And again, there have been things that maybe I don't see eye to eye with you on, or don't necessarily agree with like your approach, but I never feel like you're steering me wrong for any type of selfish gain, you know? So, so that's really, you know, a blessing, because I think we just did the work, the pre-work before marriage, and we talked a lot, we asked a lot of questions, we paid attention to what we were submitting to and getting into. But I don't want to be so naive to think that everyone who's watching us is in that same situation.
Right.
There are people who are currently in relationships, in marriages right now, where they believe, I cannot submit to this man. And what advice do we give? While you're processing and thinking about that, I want to say, and acknowledging that I know that this is not easy, but I do believe that God has given us the power of influence, of intuition, and not to manipulate our men. But we see time and time again in the Bible where women have been able to, again, through God-given femininity and things like that, that you've been able to influence men. And I think when we are submitted to God and we're listening to God, we can know, and we're studying our husbands, our men, we will know how we can maybe influence the situation through our own femininity and through learning how to be quiet and listen and study and know when to say the right things. Again, this is all lining up with what we, you know, hopefully a godly decision and going in that way. If you are with someone who you believe you cannot submit to. He's not following the word of God, all those things. So what advice would you give if someone were in a marriage or relationship where they're like, I cannot submit to this man?
All of us have the ability to grow and change and evolve, you know what I mean? And so I think making those expectations known.
Yes.
If you want someone who's spiritual person or more spiritual person, or someone who's living by the word, then you make those expectations known. If a person is unwilling to do those things, then the decision is easy.
Yeah. But I mean, if they're already in a marriage.
Well, if you're already in a marriage.
Because, I mean, I know a lot of women who are in marriages who are just like, I don't trust his decision making. He's bad with money. He doesn't go to church. He's not listening to God. Like,
and that's something that should have, I mean, that's, sweetheart, that's.
So we see a lot of women in marriages, in bad situations, and not knowing what to do, how to handle it. First of all, we know we got to give everything to God, including that man.
Yes. And then making it very clear that we are not professionals.
Yes, we are not professionals.
There are professionals. There are counselors and therapists that
can help with those things. Yes.
And I think it's important that if you want the marriage to work and the relationship to work, and you make those expectations known, then there are professionals who are able to guide you and help you to move in that direction.
Yes, absolutely.
The willingness. Now, if that person or either person isn't willing to take those steps and to move in a direction of change or growth, then it's some decision-making time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You make decisions, and that's
hard.
It is hard.
It is.
Absolutely. But
I think part of the reason why we wanted to talk about this subject, regardless of the age, submission in marriage is important because you need order, and because the word of God, if that is your foundation, that is what he tells us we need to do to have successful marriages. But I also think, again, when you're in your second marriage, or you're in the next chapter of life, over 40, over 50, and we've lived very independent lives and have strong convictions, and then you come under one household and there needs to be order and there needs to be submission. How do you do that? So again, it's okay to surrender. There's a give and a get. You're getting something. I love that aspect. And also, you're not giving up your own opinions, your thoughts, who you are at all. You are getting something from it, and it's okay to disagree.
But
what?
And the great thing about that is that, we all win. Me as a man.
Yes, we all win.
Me as a man.
He has great one-liners.
When I have a wife that's willing to submit to.
Yes.
That's willing to submit. She knows that I love her, and her best interest is always my first priority, and she's willing to submit. What that does for me as a man, it gives me more initiative to continue to be everything that you need.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It feeds us. You know
yes.
what I mean? Especially if you're a person that's pouring out, and that's a sense of being poured back into through that submission. It's an honor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just a great feeling, and it just gives you the willingness and desire just to continue to be that man that she desires, a leader,
right?
A leader, and to run your household and run your marriage with with integrity and strength.
Yes.
And it just continues, and it feeds that.
Yeah, I love it.
So yeah, it's definitely a win-win for both of us.
Win-win. Yeah. Yes. Well, this was a hard conversation.
It was.
It was a hard conversation. It was different. So we know this is not going to be for everyone, but there's no way we can talk about marriage and not address the topic of submission. Yeah. So we definitely want your comments. We want your thoughts. And we are adding a link on our website, and I'll add the link in the comments as well, where we are accepting guests. We want guests on the podcast, and come join us. There's ways we could do it virtually. Yes. But we want to talk about the topic of submission and talk about some other hard topics. We have a topic of money and marriage coming up, and we're bringing an expert on to help us talk about that as well. But again, we want to hear from you. So thank you for just enduring with us through this hard topic. We do not have all the answers. I thank you for reminding us that we are not professionals. Don't go anywhere. Talk about Leon told me to do this.
We talk about what works, what works, and what has worked for us.
Right.
And hoping that our insight or our lives can help someone else.
Yes.
And give someone else some insight and
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much. And again, make sure you subscribe, leave comments, share with others.
Please.
Yes. And we will see you the next time as we address money and marriage coming up, and especially second marriages later in life. You got to make sure things are right, wrapped up right? We got to have those hard conversations with that as well. So we'll see you soon. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Love Lately. We hope today's conversation sparked some thoughts and maybe even some inspiration for your own love story.
Remember, love does not have an expiration date. It should always be evolving and growing, and so are we together.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who might need a little encouragement in their love journey.
And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to discuss, just drop us a line. We love to hear from you.
Until next time, keep finding, building, and enjoying love lately.